Citizens Foundation is connecting governments and citizens by bringing people together to debate and prioritize innovative ideas to improve their communities. Many believe technology has undermined our faith in online debate. Instead, Citizens Foundation work shows that non-profit innovations in technology restore trust in democratic deliberation and institutions. Citizens Foundation partners like Reykjavik City, the State of New Jersey, the Scottish Parliament, and World Bank have used their solutions, making better decisions in thousands of projects in 45 countries since 2008. One of the projects, called Better Reykjavik, has a mass online community participation, with 70,000 citizens engaging out of a population 120,000. Over 30,000 registered users submitted 10,000 ideas and 21,000 debate points. Let's hear their ideas about how to connect public and private sector through Citizens Foundation platform.
Hello, nice to be with you here today. I'm Robert from the Citizens Foundation. We were founded in 2008 following the financial crisis. Iceland was hit pretty bad in 2008, where all of the commercial banks went bankrupt in a number of 10 days, and trust collapsed in society. We started with the idea of using the internet to give citizens and companies better access to policy making, with the aim of improving policy and to help take better decisions. And we have an office in Iceland. We also have recently have started a sister non-profit in the United States called Citizens Foundation America. And we have partners all around the world. Most of our partners are using the open source software, which is free to use, so anybody can install and use. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our experiences. So this article from a couple of months in The Economist caught my attention. So even with all the connectivity we have today, then we've been seeing a measurable slowdown in the rate of innovation. And there are many reasons outlined, including many of the fundamental things that have been innovative, like electricity, internet and others are sort of hard to replicate. But also in our experience, then the modern world with its sort of information overload is sort of partly to blame. So I went to look for those missing ideas. So I went to my feed, and the feed is endless. And one of the problems with consuming and working our information, sort of that our information diet is really much sort of feed-based, is that great ideas sometimes come and then they disappear down the feed. And our solutions are designed to have a sort of a different approach to social networking, where social networking is more about ideas and about deliberation. And we have an open source platform called Your Priorities, which has been in development since we started in 2008. And the main aim is to help to facilitate better decisions and accelerate new innovation by crowdsourcing public sector policy. And also by having a dialogue through a trusted intermediary, we also help with building up trust. And before founding the Citizens Foundation, I spent about 12 years in the video game industry, and I brought a lot of that experience with me to improving democracy. So, our platforms are all easy and fun to use. And how does it work? Well, citizens and companies and NGOs, they can add ideas to the platform and then have a constructed deliberation about the different ideas. And I'll show you some examples here. This is a project in Reykjavik called Better Reykjavik, platform we've been running with the city of Reykjavik since 2010. And people come in there, they are offered to add ideas onto specific projects. In this case, this is a participatory budgeting project that started in 2011. And it's all about ideas and deliberation. This is another project with the Scottish Parliament. They've been using our open solutions now for over 3 years. And it's integrated into the committee work, into the committee processes of the Scottish Parliament. And they've been doing all sorts of different projects there, including on climate change, and basically asking citizens and the private sector for ideas, for solutions that then feed into the work of the committees in the Parliament. And this is on a national level in Iceland, where Iceland has been working on improving its constitution for a long time, and you know, this was one of the approaches that came with that. So when we did our first project in 2009 called Shadow Parliament, we got a bit of a grant from the Icelandic Parliament. We created a platform where citizens could come and have a discussion about different laws going through the Icelandic Parliament. And on the first day when we launched the platform, we had like a regular commenting system, like a threaded comments, as you see on Facebook, other places. And just in the first evening when we launched the platform, there was this new law about fisheries policies. And we got about a group of 3 people who got into a horrible personal argument on the website. And me and my co-founder sort of looked at each other and said, oh, great, we have created one more place on the internet for people to argue. So since then, we've been evolving a deliberation solution, which is designed to minimize trolling arguments and making it impractical to argue, and sort of nudge citizens towards evaluating ideas, rather than just telling, you know, to say just what they think, but to help us in a constructive way to evaluate ideas. And also, as one of the dangers of the internet when it comes to democracy, is that the minority voices are drowned out. So we've designed the platform so the majority and the minority view have you know, the same sort of prominence in the user interface. And here you can see this again is another example of a constitution article being discussed about ownership of resources. But in this case, people can add points for, points against, and there were no arguments this time. You know, we were just collecting people's ideas about this proposed constitutional change, and this is also very useful for the government. After the consultation has finished, they actually get like a list of ideas with deliberation points sort of for and against. We use a lot of artificial intelligence in our platforms. We keep on evolving that over the years, and that's one of our sort of main focus of innovation and development. You know, anything from like machine translations to enable minorities living in cities and countries to take part, even if they don't speak the majority language. The recommendations, people can speak in their idea, it's automatically translated to text. We do, while our platforms have very little toxicity due to just the nature of it, then we also monitor all the content for toxicity and have a zero tolerance policy, you know, regarding that. So we decided in 2008, facing this trust crisis in Iceland, to start out as a non-profit. And we think that's, you know, when it comes to democracy, we think that it's important approach, one of many, but an important approach that we have a non-profit form of democratic innovation. That it's where civil society is working with government and the private sector to actually build open platforms that can be trusted. And so if you look at how many governments are engaging with citizens today, through all sorts of great social media platforms. I love social media. I'm a big social media user. But when it comes to having a trusted dialogue between the public sector, private sector, citizens, and nonprofits, the ad-driven business model have a critical flaw. Is that the nature of it, that you can actually buy influence for money, makes it really, really easy to sort of game the system, because you don't even need to hack anything. You don't need any cyber skills. You only need bad intention and money, and plenty of that around. Alternative governance model that open source software and open source non-profit business model offer is where we actually have a cloud platform where a lot of smaller governments, they use that for free in most cases. But governments can also install the platform locally into their private government clouds, and that makes it distributed, and it makes it resilient in terms of, yes, there are hackers trying to hack into everything these days, of course, but in this governance model, the hacking is met head-on, face-on, because there's no way to buy yourself into the platform. You have to then attack it using cyber attacks and so on. And some of the projects here is the participatory budgeting project in Reykjavik. We had last year a record-breaking participation rates. Over 60,000 people visited the project. There's 100,000 people on the voting register in Reykjavik, and over 10,000 logged in to take a direct part with ideas and so on. And what I like about this map, this is a map of where the citizens have added their ideas. There was over 1,300 ideas. What I like about this map is that it basically draws out the border of the Reykjavik municipality. So there's ideas everywhere, all across the city. And the city of Reykjavik has also used the platform for many policy recommendations, where including education policy, democracy policy, where citizens then have access to the process at the right time, when they actually can have influence, and when the city, the politics, and the municipality is actually looking for feedback. Since we started the city of Reykjavik in 2010, it's sort of organically grown all across Iceland. We're working with 17 municipalities now in Iceland, and about 80–90% of the Icelandic population has access to policy making, all across the country, and it just keeps on growing. The municipalities and government is using it more and more, and citizens have become, ready to expect it. Something more about the Scottish Parliament. And 9 years ago actually, then an older version of our open source platform was used here in Estonia as a part of the People's Assembly project. It was really a fruitful collaboration with the e-Governance Academy here in the city. And the platform has been used, as I said earlier, in 45 countries. This is a project of the UNDP in Africa called Multi-City Challenge Africa. And the same here, people debate pros and cons. And while we started in Iceland, it wasn't sure that this would work in other countries, in other cultures. But it's proven itself that citizens are eager to participate if they know about those opportunities, all around the world, where we've been. And it's another project in Sudan. It was called Back to School after the first COVID wave hit. And we work quite a bit with the World Bank. This is another project in Kyrgyzstan. And the key outcomes with your priorities is improved communities, better decisions, improved innovation, and also it has an educational aspect that it helps citizens understand how the government is working. By actually allowing citizens to participate, it gives the citizens a unique insight into how government works. And this is also really important because in many parts of the world, including in Europe, democracy is under threat. And finally, we've actually set up little participation platform for the Talent Digital Summit, and which is going to be open until the end of this month, where you can come in and you can add ideas connected to the global gateway, the EU's global gateway, which has been quite prominently discussed here. And here you can check with your QR code and participate directly and even anonymously. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Round of applause, please. I just saw the platform online as well. I've got a tablet here connected to the Wi-Fi. Thank you. And I was thinking, we've seen so many different solutions over the last few days, both today and yesterday. I remember from yesterday, it was about saving electricity. There was this Ursula mode of how your electric cars can save electricity and money while charging. Would it be fair to use this platform that you provided for Talent Digital Summit for these kinds of purposes, so that companies could also put their own solutions there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're actually in the platform we generated for this summit. Then we're actually explicitly asking companies to provide their solutions, to offer their solutions in terms of having sort of an open dialogue about the different solutions that are available, and to help to sort of increase the profile of the solutions and other things, yes.
Well, I think that the topic of trusted connectivity also extends and very much includes the topic of civic participation, digital empowerment of citizens all over Europe, all around the world. And so we rely on all of you to please follow that QR code that you just saw. If you just missed the QR code, you can also enter digitalsummit.ee/EXPO 2022. There is a tiny menu button, and then you click on Add Your Solution. So any kinds of suggestions that you can come up with for how to bring the targets of the Digital Summit forward into the next level, very much appreciated. Robert, thank you so much for being with us on stage, and thank you so much to you, everybody here in the audience, and of course back at home. We will head back to the lunch break. We will head back from the end of the lunch break. We will head back to the main stage, where there will be a panel discussion on paradigms of trust in cybersecurity amidst global conflict. I wouldn't usually mention all the different names that are participating. It's a firework of ministers and other high-level representatives: Singapore, Moldova, Chile, Poland, European Commission. They're all there. So I hope you have a lovely time. Thanks for joining us here at the Expo stage, and we'll see you later. Thank you so much.